Good afternoon. If you know me and follow me, welcome. And if you don't, welcome also. You've found me for a reason. I've just been out for a walk with my little pooch, Luna, my husky. First time in quite a while. And yeah, the wind's on my hair again. But I've been under the weather, you know. I've had the flu, and yeah, since returning back from France, if you cut my last reading, to Mary Magdalene gave of eggs in France, I feel like I've been integrating the energies again, and you know, this time we're being pummeled. Let's just call it as it is. We're being pummeled by these very, very powerful energies on coming to planet Earth, solar, and yeah, there's a lot going on. And I'm used to this, you know, because just before the pandemic, I'd say about a year before the pandemic, I could feel this shift coming. I didn't know that I was having precognition, you know, that what was to come. I do now, because I've had it many, many times, and it's got stronger and stronger on my journey. But I didn't know back then what was going on. You know, I just thought, wait, what's happening here then? Something's going on. It's all new, you know. It's just the beginning of a long, long journey of deep healing and searching and seeking answers to what was happening to me. You know, it's putting me on my path of awakening, let's say. And I've been getting downloads this morning, you know, the psychic in me, the oracle. And to talk about the Kundilini again, and also Lemuria has been coming through. Now, if you follow me, you'll know that, you know, my channel it's got lots and lots of similar, yes, on the same line as, but different aspects of what I do and what I am on this journey. My multi-dimensional fractals of myself, you know, that have retained from my Kundalini waking me up, and also my dark night of the soul, my spiritual awakening, twin flame awakening. You know, it's all connected, but there's many, many aspects to my multi-dimensional self. So Lemuria is one of the past lives that came back to my remembrance, you know, that DNA got sparked once I started to waking up pretty early on. It was one of the main, it was one of the most knowing of one of my past lives, you know. Very beautiful place. I've been through, as strange as it sounds, during meditation with my Lemurian seed quartz crystal, master crystal. Didn't find this by chance, you know. This was a crystal that the light codes returned to me. The very first time I saw light codes, I also knew what there was, but I'd never seen them before in my life, in deep meditation. So these beautiful symbols of light, luminosity, they're saying, was coming towards me one by one and then disappearing, like somebody was just fighting with a magic marker in the air. You know, I couldn't see the hand, it was just this just appearing one by one. I'll never forget it. It was beautiful. And then that triggered recalibration of my DNA remembrance to my past life in Lemuria, and going through this portal and seeing rainbows and waterfalls, you know, just like you imagine, like the film Avatar. Yeah, let's get on to Avatar. So just like you, well, you don't have to imagine it. Just when you watch that film Avatar, the luminosity that's coming off these beings and the light curves that you see in that and the life force energy, it was like that. So where did Avatar come from? Now, I spoke about this also, films, The Never-Ending Story, The Wizard of Oz, many, many more. I can't think of any at the minute, but many, many more. Matrix. Yeah, let's go to the Matrix. We're in the Matrix. Yeah, that film came from somewhere, you know, that came from somebody's conscious mind, you know. And I've always watched these films, like I was speaking of, get back to the Kundilini, I was speaking of when I had the astral projection, my very first spontaneous astral projection, right at the beginning of my awakening. I didn't know what it was. I knew it was spiritual, because to see your body leave your body, to see yourself on the bed, and for you to rise and rise and rise and go off into, you know, the stratosphere somewhere, and to see yourself all illuminated up, I'll never forget it. Yeah, you know, that awoken something up in me that I couldn't close my eyes to. But where was we? Lost my train of thought. Yeah, it's the flow fire. So the Kundilini, yeah, the Kundalini's been coming through to me, and I knew, you know, I've been getting lots and lots of downloads too. I've just had my fringe cut and it's just not falling how I'd like it to. So if you see me faffing with my fringe, that's why. I've been getting lots and lots of downloads of Kundalini and to talk about my Kundalini, which I knew one day I would be. And this is very, very personal stuff, but you know, on your spiritual awakening path, you go through this stuff that's so, so personal and so hard and so unbelievable to people. It's unbelievable to yourself when it's happening to you also. But if you get down this journey, you dissolve things like fear, and you dissolve things like the ego. Not dissolve it, but balance it out. And you release all judgments of, you know, what society will think of you. All that just falls away. If you get down on this journey, it's all meant to. And it's building you up, you know, so that you can speak about your journey. You can become that spiritual teacher to help others on the beginning of their journey. So the Kundalini, yeah. But I've also been getting Lemurian. I'm going to see what card comes out. So I don't even know what card's going to come out. But, you know, when I get the downloads, just have to follow that golden nugget, you know. I also have to have trust in what I'm being guided to, which took me quite a long time. And I really don't like my fringe. I think it's been cut a bit too short. I also had to have trust, you know, what was happening to me, like the Kundalini, all the emotional, the mental, physical and spiritual things that was happening. I had to have faith that it was all happening for a reason, you know, not just to punish me for something I can't remember doing. You know, because yeah, it does feel like sometimes, especially my journey with me being a twin flame, that's just one part, you know. It was the only part that I was really concentrating on at the beginning of this journey. that was the part I was trying to figure out. That was the catalyst to start this whole journey off. My mirror, my mirror soul was the catalyst to send me on a Kundilini and to awaken me up to all the fractals, of my multidimensional self. Without that catalyst, without that mirror being held up to me, I need to get a fringe piece now, I think. I would not be where I am now. I would not be as healed as I am now, and I've still got a way to go. We always have a way to go. The master in me, which they've said I'm at the master stage now, is always a student. I'm always learning. I'm doing courses, but I'm going to be offering courses also. Part of stepping onto my teaching path, but I'm also doing courses myself to better myself. On this path, you never stop bettering yourself and adding to your spiritual toolkit, your skill sets. Constant learning, and the master knows that. The humble master always knows they are the student. Yeah, life force energy. We all have that inside us, It's called chi. And from Avatar, when they plug into the earth and ocean, they receive that life force energy, don't they? I love Avatar. It's one of my favourite films. Very, very long, but so worth the sitting. I relate to it, every time I watch it. It's like I'm back in Lemuria. And Lemurians, there was loving light beings, and there was highly spiritually evolved light beings, understood crystals, the energy and the healing from crystals, hence why I work with crystals. That will also be in my course that I'm setting up. It's a course where we will be working through our rainbow bridge, just like I've worked through my rainbow bridge. At the beginning of my awakening, my chakras, seven chakras. We have many more, but the rainbow bridge, the heaven and earth connection, our road to enlightenment. Life force energy. That was the first card that came out. So just read a little bit from the book. Excuse me if I sound a bit, still getting over the tail end of the flow. Let's have a look. So, life force energy. Yeah, we all have that. That's the chi. That governs, our emotional, physical, our mental, spiritual self. That life force chi. So, come on, Ellie. Yeah, I've just been for a nice walk, and it was the first walk I've done in a few days. And my little pooch, she took me for a walk because she's a husky. She's getting so powerful now, I need to get her a harness. She's on a leader, and I really need a harness because she looks like she's going to fly. And I was calling my little husky with angel wings. But she was going to fly today. She was literally taking off. So I think it's harness time, and yeah, I needed that time out in nature, because I've been stuck in the house with the flu and not feeling not feeling my chi. I've not felt much chi lately. Now I needed to plug into nature. No way going with this. Needed to plug into nature, my supernatural gifts, what I've brought online through, opening up my Kundilini energy, was telling me, get out in nature, Ellie, or some spirit cards. I've not felt like much getting dressed. I've not, you don't, do you? When your chi is, your life force chi is depleted, you don't feel like getting dressed. You don't feel like going for walks. You don't you don't feel, you know, much energy at all. But I also knew I was going to be doing a reading after I'd taken this walk, because I knew that my life force energy would have been returned back to me. Not whole, you know, because the flow has knocked it out of me a bit. But yeah, I feel gradually it's getting a little bit more and more, you know. I'm at the tail end of this book now. But I also now have been integrating the energies also, so upgrades. And that can exhaust you as a light worker and a twin flame. Yeah, and I've just gone through I'm going through a big personal energy integration again. And I understand this because I've done many for 8 years now. So I'm leveling up to become the teacher, you know, is what they keep saying to me. So why I went to France was you know, I went there to the Cave of Eggs, Mary Magdalene. So that's another aspect of my multidimensional self, the high priestess of the Rose lineage. And my connection to Mary Magdalene, Yeshua. So I got sent to France. You know, I was going to go. Kundilini. Walk all this up inside of me, the clairaudience, the clairsentience, clairvoyance. So I knew I was going to go. You know, precognition, could see that coming months before. Did a reading months before saying I will be going there. Didn't know I had the funds to get there. You know, because times are hard these days, aren't they? So I didn't know I had the funds, but knew I was going somehow. Just like I've known every journey Spirit sent me, want me, they'll make it happen, you know. Also the Kundilini rising, I've become quite a good manifester. You know, so what you think you create, what you speak you create. I understand that, you know. Yeah, it's got more, my supernatural gifts have got more, well, they've come online and they keep coming more than that. I'm going to read a little bit about the life force energy there. So, perfect. Let's get to it. I've had no songs recently as well. I think Spirit's giving me a bit of a resting. I'm in a resting point. They say I'm in the resting stage. They want me resting. I think that's why they give me a bug also, you know, because they know that what I find it hard to rest because I've been go from waking up to the Kundalini rising, to the dark night of the soul, to the twin flame awakening, to past lives returning, to these supernatural gifts returning. So it's like go. And you're searching and healing and integrating, and you know, not to mention all the cosmic changes that, you know, we're going through, all the moon cycles and all of that, the eclipses and all of that. Yeah, I think rest time is needed, you know, and they're saying I'm resting because they're preparing me. You know, I've had this many times before also. The last rest period was 6 months. They took me away from my candle business for 6 months, and I knew after I just got back off another holiday that they sent me on to do my grid work, which is another part of my multidimensional self. We are not just one, you know, we are many. We exist in many dimensions also. Yeah, we're not just one. That's, I do know this on this path, you know. Yeah, I knew I'd be going into a long resting period again, and I knew once I merge out of that resting period, it's go time, you know, it's on. So this resting period, behind the scenes, I'm downloading this course, this 7 chakras course, and to start working with crystals, show others the way, you know, to there. their ascension. Not necessarily the Kundilini awakening, because not everybody has a Kundilini awakening. And I wouldn't say I have a Kundilini awakening, because mine was very, very intense, very painful, very I say spontaneous, but spontaneous as it hit, you know, but I think it had been rising slowly for many, many years with me doing yoga. But the way that it hit me felt spontaneous, you know, came, yeah, out of nowhere. But yeah, I had a spiritual crisis, let's just say. Not everybody does. Don't want to put no fear into anybody, but this is my real experience of my Kundalini awakening. And it's beautiful, beautiful, spiritual, creative energy. And it's blissful, and it's emotional, and it's all of that, you know. It's many, many things. But it's not necessarily for everybody, you know. Not everybody will have a Kundalini awakening. I did. Part of my path. I was one of the lucky ones. And I say lucky now. I wouldn't have said lucky back then when I was in my spiritual crisis. No. But I feel now I'm out of that part of it. I know this journey. I know how to ground. I know how to bring myself back. I know why these resting periods happen, all the integration, all, you know, I know this journey now. Still learning though. I'm never going to say you know it all, because you don't. Nobody does. Be learning till I leave this earth, return home. But I know enough, you know, now to, when these energies hit, and that seer in me knows why they're hitting, you know. Didn't that back then, just was riding the waves, you know. I was a surfer. I was just like trying to stay on that surfboard and falling off into the deep, deep sea, and yeah, sharks all around me. But that's for another story. So we're getting on for 22 minutes now. So I'm going to read a little bit about this life force energy. Then I'm going to come back on. I'm going to read the automatic writing. I feel like there's lots and lots coming through today. So where are we? 34. 34. Life force energy. Doesn't seem right. Oh, it should do. Let's have a look. Have I gone past it? No. Okay. Well, there's either something I'm missing or Spirit's having a laugh with me. But the page that the card says 34 life force energy, and no, that's not right. So that says sacral chakra. Okay, Spirit. Yeah, well, sacral chakra, but the card is 34 life force energy. These cards, you know, they have very powerful activations, remembrance in them that will, you know, can reboot your, you know, your DNA, your cellular. But what is going on? 34. No. So I'm going to have a look for the life force energy card, because they've mixed it up. So what number is that? Never noticed that before. Oh, no, it's me. It's my cotton wool brain with the flu. I was on the wrong thingy of it. No, I wasn't. I was, well, that's fur at the top. Yeah, I'm on the bottom. Yeah, it's me. Sorry, spirit. So, energy. So, mana, ana, the rainbow spectrum. Yeah. So, the course that I will be offering is the full spectrum, you know, of the rainbow bridge. And that's your 7 energy wheels, your chakras. What governs, you know, your chi. So the rainbow spectrum, bright white light, Reiki, celebrating life, God force, optimal health, being vibrantly alive, thriving, nature. Yeah, the minute I got out in nature today, I could feel my life force energy starting to return, you know. I felt a bit sniffly and a bit achy, but I knew I needed nature, you know. The little spirit told me to get up and get out of bed and get to nature early, so. But could feel me, you know, that one area in me. I was plugging into the nature all around me, you know, the birds and the trees and fresh air, you know. So yeah, nature, conscious consumption, Eden, the body as a temple, bringing earth into balance, cell rejuvenation, the love of the land. Yeah, I was just looking out, you know, at the land where I live, the greenery, and taking it all in, you know. And not done that for a while, apart from in France. France was absolutely beautiful. I'll be showing many videos on France. And you know, when you're in nature, just feel, just plugging into that life force energy, so you just feel blissful, don't you, and healthy, and yeah, it's that chi we're plugging into. So what happens when we seek to maximise the life force energy in everything we do? Toward the completion of this oracle deck, I was called to visit Hawaii. So this lady who channeled this oracle deck, a remembrance of her Lemurian past lifetime. She says she went with an open mind, and she was blown away at the incredible level of life force energy that radiated there. Yeah, that's one place I want to visit, because of the connection, you know, to Lemuria. Also, that's why I visited France, because my spirit team wanted me to. Because of my connection to the High Priestess Rose Path, I was meant to visit, you know, there and pick up a fringe. Apparently not. But I was meant to go there in that cave, just getting off the life force energy, but all connection. I picked up something there and I brought it home with me. So part of my DNA, yeah, my DNA, picked up something from inside that cave. I've felt big energetic shifts since, and I knew I would. I knew I was going there for that reason. And I've been integrating the energetic shifts since, you know. So this lady, she went to Hawaii. You know, her connection to her life force, you know, and to the earth. So she says, when we know the joy of this life force within and around us, and we are vibrantly alive, we can't help but inspire others to choose the same. So she says, the depths of my being, the experience imprinted the depths of my being with the remembering that we can bring this beautiful blue planet back to its former glory, starting with our own temples and personal pieces of Eden. Yeah, so working on our own rainbow bridge. You know, so she visited this place in Hawaii that she'd been dreaming of all her life. having visions. So she says, I discovered I had been dreaming of this place my whole life. The crystalline waterfalls, the rainbows, the fused skies, exotic flowers, opulent plant life was so present that you couldn't help but see a radiant aura around everything. Yeah, Avatar. This was me when I went through this portal, as woo-woo as it sounds to some. This was me when I first discovered I was from Lemuria. And the word Lemuria came through to me, and I was like, what's Lemuria? Never heard of it before. But this crystal, this master seed crystal that came by me by no coincidence at all. The striations in it, you know, you draw your fingers down these striations, and these striations hold very, very sacred knowledge, you know, hidden inside these crystals. The Lemurians hid this sacred knowledge, knowing that it would one day be found again. When Earth was ready, you know, when humanity was ready to receive this sacred knowledge, then these crystals would be unearthed. And then that remembrance would return to, you know, the light beings on Earth. And then that would remember, that would reboot, you know, something in our DNA to start off our remembrance of, you know, my past life in Lemuria. So she says, I discovered I had been dreaming of this place my whole life. The crystalline waterfalls. Yeah, when I went through that portal, there was waterfalls, and it was just beautiful utopia. You know, I didn't want to come back out, to be quite honest. And I tried going back in many times. I've seen it twice. Just feels like home, you know. So she says, one day I was sitting on red sand beach. I had a vision of an overlaying dimension that spanned our physical world. This overlay was the God force or life force in its purest and highest vibration. The vision presented an array of objects familiar to the physical plane, from lower vibrational, concrete, processed chemicals and suffering-imbued consumables, to the higher biodynamic earthly offerings and the vibrant lands that surrounded me at that moment. The experience imprinted the depths of my being with the remembering that we can bring this beautiful blue planet back to its former glory, starting with our own temples and personal pieces of Eden. Doing the work, you know, that's what I get from this. So she says here, I realised that maximising one's life force energy was the gateway to bridging heaven and earth. And I realised that completely, because I've done this journey this lady's took, and many before me, many ascended masters, and many after me also. The key to, you know, so our temple, our vessel, our body, holds these chakras, these energy centres inside of them. So the key to finding our life force energy, you know, is getting out to nature, doing yoga, eating healthy, not consuming toxins, you know, lower vibrational foods, drinks, eating high vibrational foods, you know, all of that. Our environment, who we surround ourselves with, what we put into our vessel, life force energy, you know, it all adds to awakening our chakras, you know, unblocking that stagnant energy that the lower dense energies of planet Earth and what we consume, drinking and eating, it all adds to unblocking, you know, that life force energy, and then works up the spine, the chakras, and then that is our connection to heaven and earth. Many years of healing, deep transformational work. But it's a path well taken, you know, and once you do do understand we are earth and we are heaven. We are not just earth. We are not just here on this physical plane. And that is all we are. No. Once you start working through these chakras and your Kundalini does start rising, if that is what is meant to rise in you. Not everybody has a Kundalini awakening. I did. You understand you are human and you are divine. So that earth and heaven and earth connection. First, you know, you have to get this life force energy, chi, flowing, working up your energy centres to your crown. So from your root, your stability, your root is your stability. You know, it's your foundation. It's that connection to Mother Gaia, earth. That's what grounds us, you know, that's our physical. And then you've got your sacral, and then you've got your solar plex, and you've got your heart, and you've got your throat, and you've got your third eye, and you've got your crown. So your crown, your connection to heaven. So your root, your earth, your crown, your heaven. And, you know, higher and higher up also. We have more than 7 chakras, but this is your rainbow bridge, what I speak of. What I've worked through. So understand we are more than what we've been told we are, you know. We are human and we are divine. And when you take this rainbow bridge, you send up the rainbow bridge, you realise that, you know, and then you start awakening supernatural gifts inside yourself. I'm just going to say it, yeah, the supernatural. Clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, channeling. You can channel light beings. Once you start unblocking these energy centres and bringing that life force energy back, which is your birthright, you know, inside all of us. It's our birthright. It's our divine blueprint to find this life force energy and plug in. Get out in nature and plug into life force energy. Music, yeah, music. Listen to high vibrational music, you know, no lower, lower vibrations. No, stay away from the lower vibration parts of the earthly realm. Listen to high vibrations. And it's getting on 37 minutes, you know, but you know, time, that's an illusion also. Been told a lot that's illusions, you know. But yeah, your life force energy, that is your rainbow bridge. That's your connection to your heaven and earth. So they want you to just take this card in. You know, very, very powerful remembrance in these cards. I'm just going to plug into my life force energy and bring some Lemurian light language through, which I can feel coming through now. So I'm just going to ground and connect to source. Asekoshonoya, Eyama Sitiono, Ek Oshonono, Eyamana, Ek Osomaye, Yoto Chotoya, Eya Siakono, Ea, Ela Maria, Eko Sono Yona, Ea Siti, Ik, Akokoshono Naye, Eyamana Sono no Ye, Yayoko Kokoya Nanana, Eolo Sotoyo. Ea makase okoshonoyo. There you go. You know, because I've plugged into my life force energy this morning, and they're bringing me out of the resting period now. They're still saying I need to rest. After years, you know, on a hard journey, twin flame journey, I'm still on it. I'm still going through the ebbs and flows of this journey, you know. Yeah, they're saying I still need to rest, but they're bringing me out slowly, you know, and I'm plugging back into my life force energy. So going out in nature, and I'm feeling I want to get on my yoga mat again and get my chi moving, and yeah, I'm feeling like I'm surfacing now, you know, these dolphins. I feel like my emotions are settling also. I've just been through another obstacle on my twin flame path. I'm used to it now, you know. It doesn't knock me back like it used to. I understand this journey. I understand it because I've crossed that rainbow bridge, you know, so I've got that connection to source. So I understand why it's all happening. And I can see from the 5D perspective why it's all happening. And I can also see what's to come. So I'm used to it, you know, that, yeah. So my emotions, you know, water, it's about emotions. They're settling now. Yeah, just take this card in. Makes me want to watch Avatar again. I might sit and watch it with my little pup Luna. Yeah, I'm gonna, you know, because, yeah, be kind to yourself, you know, if you've got that time out, like, even if it's 10 minutes, and this is how I started off. I just started to give back to myself what I was outsourcing to others. I was giving myself self-care and self-love, and I was making time for myself. Yeah, and I was just not outsourcing my life force energy. That doesn't mean I was not there for people. I'll always be there for people, friends, family. That's me. That's how I'm built. That's the light being in me, you know, the empathic in me. But I started to give that to myself, self-love, and I don't feel guilty for that, you know. I don't feel guilty for taking a walk, and I don't feel guilty for going on my yoga mat, and I don't feel guilty for, you know, not having the washing done for certain people, you know, who you live with. I don't know, because it's all an illusion anyway, you know, because time is of no importance. Yes, we put a lot on time in the earthly sense, but when you have that connection to source, you know that time is the illusion also. Yeah, I'm on my own time scale. It feels freeing, you know, as well. Yeah, you feel free. Feel also, you know, my work, I'm not limited to, you know, that 9 to 5. I know that as a light worker, twin flame, I'm heading into a timeline, yes, in my human self, but my divine self, into teaching all of what I've gone through. So it's not that normal 9 to 5, 8 to 5, you know, job. Yeah, you start to understand that, you know, it's all there for keep us in this cage, you know, this golden bed in this gilded cage. And then, yeah, when you start to work on your rainbow bridge, you start to become more free. Find your wings. And I'm going to leave it there because 40 minutes again. I'm going to have a break, have a drink, hot drink, and then I'm going to come back on. And yeah, talking of wings, I can see my When Women Had Wings card, so there'll be messages in there for us. This also, strange how I started to do that. That gets your chi moving. So just rubbing your hands together, you know. Yeah, I've done this many times, but strange how I just started to do it while I was online. Gets that chi moving, you know. And you know when you do that, you can feel that chi ball. Yeah. So, you know, if you've got 5 minutes, just rub your hands together and that'll get your chi moving. Don't have to overcomplicate the saying. Thanks, Spirit. You can do 5 minutes of this, or, you know, a bit of Tai Chi on your yoga mat, or a bit of yoga on your yoga mat. Don't have to overcomplicate. You can go for a lovely walk in nature. Simplicity, the saying. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Okay? I shall speak to you soon.